Hey, so today I wanted to do something. Sorry, I'm filming near the window and it's a beautiful day and it's cooler out today, so I have the window open, so hopefully there's not a bunch of background noise. But Luca, oh there he goes, is hanging out on the windowsill. I wonder if I move it over here, if that's better. Luca, just chill, just be chill. Okay, we'll see how this goes. I'm gonna have to try this again when he's not up here. But anyways, so since it's going to be a new month soon, it's getting around the time where I do my new budget for the month. What is he doing? It's getting around the time where I do my new budget for the month. And I feel like that is one thing that people do ask me about a lot, is what app I use to budget, how I set it up, and all that stuff. So I wanted to just try to screen record and talk through it. I don't have this video at all like planned out. I was just gonna do it, but I'm going to record my screen on my phone and then talk through it as I would talk myself through it in my head, just so you can get an idea of how I do things. So you can kind of maybe apply that to how you do it. So the app I use is called EveryDollar, and that's because I work best with a zero-based budget. Luca, please don't knock over my camera. I do best with a zero-based budget, and EveryDollar is actually Dave Ramsey's app, and I'm not 100, like, I listen to him and I take everything he says with a grain of salt. I'm not like his biggest fan by any means. I've read his book, I listen to his podcast from time to time, and honestly, listening to him and following his advice did a lot for me whenever I was getting out of debt. Right now, I'm very, very proud to say that I do not have any credit card debt. I do not have a car loan. I don't have any personal loans, anything like that. All I have is my student loans, and we're in the process right now, thank God. So I owed $26,000 is the balance I have left. I've not paid anything on it since COVID started and payments were suspended, because I just thought I was better off pushing my money into places where it made more sense and was able to work harder for me, rather than paying off a debt that we didn't really know what was going on with. And I'm actually like very, very pleasantly surprised that I qualify. I'm not surprised that I qualify, but that actually the whole thing went through. And I actually just filled out the form, and I'm eligible for the full $20,000 forgiveness, which would leave me only at $6,000. And honestly, I won't even be pressed to pay off that $6,000, even though I could get it knocked out really quick, because it's my oldest account. So it does a lot of work for my credit score, which is nice. And so, yeah, because I've had that account technically since I was 18. So it's a 10-year-old account, so it does a lot of work for my credit score. And so I'm just gonna keep like paying whatever the payment ends up being, and go from there. So yeah, but anyway, so I'm not allotting for that in the budget because payments haven't started again yet, but just wanted to throw that out there. So I take everything that Dave Ramsey does with a grain of salt. I use credit cards. I do all my spending on credit cards and then pay them off. I honestly pay off my credit cards, all of them, every Friday, just so that way it always carries a zero balance, because I'm not the best at keeping up with like the closing dates and all of that. I know that Mariah is like really good at that, and she knows like when to pay them off to like affect your credit score so your score is as high as possible. I'm not the best at keeping up with that, so I just keep it paid off as frequently as possible. But anyway, so I'm going to start screen recording, and the moral of that story was the app I use is called EveryDollar. And so I'm just going to open that up now. And I basically am just going to I'm not going to use my actual income numbers. I just use like round numbers for the sake of this. And then I'll go through and like actually put my numbers into it. But I just kind of wanted to show how I do it every month. So I basically have my two paychecks. I get paid twice a month. I get paid on the 15th and then on the last day of the month. And I just have paycheck 1 as $2,000 and paycheck 2 as $2,000. So that way we can kind of see, you can get an idea of how I set things up and how I like play with the numbers. So yeah, so at the top is your paycheck, your income. So I have my two paychecks there. Obviously, if you get paid twice a week, you kind of have to like play with it a little bit more, because it might not be exactly to the month, but I'm lucky enough to where my paychecks are very specific to the month that I'm in. So it's easy to do that because this is set up by month. So I'm looking at November 2022. So you have your income at the top, and then I have my favorite categories here. So gas, groceries, and restaurants. Those are the categories where I'm like, spending like more daily, I guess. So that's at the top. I actually should probably put my personal category up there too, but I try to ignore that one because that's the one I usually go over in, whereas gas, groceries, and restaurants, I stay pretty to the point. The next category down is giving. And then I'll go in more depth of all these. I just want to kind of give an overview. But there's savings, investing, housing, transportation, food, personal, lifestyle, health, insurance, and then debt. And I talked about that a little bit. I have my student loans is the only debt I have right now, but I'm not paying on them at this moment. So that's just zeroed out. So I zeroed out all the categories that are like more flexible. And then the ones that are like fixed bills, I just kind of left in there so I didn't have to remember what they were. But I'm just going to go line by line and show you how I do this. So I usually start with the biggest things. And so this is our second month in the new house. And so we have a new mortgage payment, and I can be pretty transparent about that. Our mortgage payment, or not mortgage, our rent payment is $2,000. And so I pay $1,000, Jared pays $1,000, so that's $1,000 right there that I can kind of knock out. So for electricity, I get my electricity bill like the 15th, and then it's due the 1st. So I already know my electricity is, I'm just gonna estimate here, $115, because that's what it usually is. So that's $115. I don't pay for cable or internet. I'm lucky enough that Jared covers that expense, and I cover the electricity and I cover the water. So that's a new item that I actually need to add because we have not gotten a water bill yet, which should be an adventure. I actually have no idea how much our water is going to cost. So I actually might just Google, hold on. I might just Google how much average Tampa water bill, average water bill in Tampa, Florida. And that's something that you can do too, especially when you're moving to a new area. A lot of people can look up. Okay, please. Tampa water rates are $3.02 per month plus 80 cents per 1,000 gallons and an additional monthly charge of $3.82. You can see full rate schedule here. The average water bill in Tampa is $46.50. Okay, so the average bill is $46.50. I'm just going to assume that we're average, and that's what I'm going to put in is $46.50. Because we don't have that big of a house, but we run that washer and we run the dishwasher, and we both take showers very frequently. So I'm just going to assume that we're average, even though we probably live in a slightly below average square footage. So yeah, and that kind of wraps up the housing category. So for gas, I've actually been spending a little bit more on gas than I usually do. So, and this is the way that I think, like I usually budget about $75 for gas because I get really good mileage. I work from home. I really just like bebop around to grocery shop and run little errands and stuff like that. So I'm never really using a lot. But since we're new to Tampa and we've been exploring a lot, I have been driving a lot more and driving a little bit further away. I've been like going into St. Pete and, you know, going up into the suburbs to go shopping and stuff like that. So I'm actually going to bump up my gas a little bit. So I'm going to go from 75 and just go to I'm probably going to say 110, just as like a little guesstimate. And then I have a category for Uber/Lyft. That's something that I do month to month because it's very infrequent, like the way that I use Uber and Lyft. A lot of times Jared will drive if we're going out. Sometimes he doesn't. If I'm going out with my friends, we're more likely to Uber than if I'm going out with Jared and stuff like that. I'm honestly just going to leave this at 0 because, okay, so it's November. So, I mean, I don't really foresee me using Uber and stuff that much. And I think I actually have a credit on one of my credit cards. So if I do use it, I could just use that. A lot of times when I'm using Uber and stuff, it's for work. So I expense it. So I don't have to worry about it. So I'm just going to leave that at 0. Maintenance for my car. So I have a fund. So anytime you see a little piggy bank sign next to a line item, that's because that's a fund. So that's something, it's kind of like a sinking fund. So I save a little bit for it every month. And then when I go in there, it will tell me how much I have. So right now I have $250 saved in here. And that's because I just got maintenance in my car last month because we moved. I needed to get everything taken care of, tires rotated, all that. So I spent a little bit of that money. So I'm just going to save $50 this month to go towards my maintenance. Okay, groceries. that is something I'm still figuring out too. So my grocery bill, and if you watched my, I think it was in my last, maybe a couple of like vlogs ago, I spent like $200 on groceries in 1 week, which was kind of crazy. And that's because I'm just not used to shopping at Publix as my main grocery store. So that's something I'm still working through, and Aldi's really close. It's really not that far away. It's like maybe 20 minutes away. So I'm gonna prioritize shopping there. So I usually budget $250 for groceries for the month. And that was crazy because I spent that in like a week. And just for transparency, so I usually pay, Jared and I flip-flop weeks, so like he'll pay for groceries 1 week, I'll pay for groceries the next. That way it kind of evens out. So yeah, I'm just gonna budget $250 again and see how it goes. But yeah, okay, so restaurants I usually try to keep it really low, but because I'm not a big person that eats out, I'm not really that into that. But once again, since we're in a new city and I'm wanting to explore a little bit more and try a couple of new different things, try out like a couple of healthy restaurants, see what I like, and just kind of have fun, I'm going to beef up my budget for for restaurants. So I usually do $150 a month, and that covers like my little fast food Chipotle, Chick-fil-A type things, as well as my coffee, my Starbucks I include in my restaurant budget. And then if we do go out to like a nicer dinner, I'll get away literally with $150, and somehow, because we don't really go out to eat that much. Even like a little DoorDash, like I scrape by with $150 every month, and it's honestly impressive. But I am going to beef it up to $250 for this month because yeah, just because I want to have a little bit more fun. So that's $250. And as you can see, as I go, it tells me how much I have left to budget at the top. So that's a feature that I really like. And it will also tell you if you're over budget, and it goes red if you're over budget, which is, you know, not fun. Okay, so I have alcohol as a separate line item, and I count that as, and these are all like my personal definitions, but alcohol to me is if I need to go to the liquor store and actually buy alcohol, or like if I'm buying like a case of White Claws or whatever, and like just buying that, I'm not gonna, like if I just buy it from the grocery store and I'm adding it on, I'll count it out of my grocery budget. But if I'm going specifically to the store and buying a 16 pack or whatever, then I'll add it to there. And then I also count drinks. So like, let's say I'm just like going out for cocktails with somebody, I'll also lump that in there. I'm trying to cut back on drinking, honestly. But I do have a couple of Bumble BFF dates that I'm probably going to do in the coming month. So I'm just going to budget $50 and see how it goes. One of the things that I also do, like throughout the month, I always adjust. I used to go through and add it into the budget every single day, like as I did it. But now I've gotten to the point where kind of at the end of every week, kind of around the same time that I pay off all my credit card bills, I will go through and just adjust, like actually log everything, adjust, and see where I'm spending more than I thought, where I'm spending less than I thought, and, you know, move things around as needed. So I'm going to start with 50 and see where it goes. Okay, so personal I'm going to skip, because personal is actually where I usually just put all my extra, because that's my fun spending money. So I'm just going to skip that for now. I'm going to go through lifestyle just so you can see. So my phone is $90 a month. I just pay that to my mom because I'm still on my mom's plan. Hulu went up. I think that Hulu is 15 something now. I'm just going to put 16 because of tax. But I think that they went up. I remember getting a message about it, but I forget how much it is. But anyway, so that's in there. Spotify is $10.71. My iCloud is actually $2.99 because I went up to the next plan. So $2.99. I pay $32 a month for my Adobe membership. And this category is called lifestyle, but I honestly just have all my subscriptions in this category just because I like to have them all lumped into one, and that's just kind of like the best category that they fit in. So yeah, Adobe, and that's my Creative Cloud. Membership is like $32 a month. And then Show It is the platform that I use for web design, and that is $24 a month. So that's there. Doctor's visits. So this one I always leave at $0 unless I know I'm going to have an appointment. So I'm going to put $20 in there because I'm most likely going to go to the dermatologist next month, and my copay for those is $20. Same thing for prescriptions. I kind of change this every month because it's always different. So I have one prescription that's usually like 20 bucks, but I only fill it every 3 months. And I'm probably going to need to fill it this month. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put $20 in there. I don't think I'm gonna have any other ones. So I'm just gonna do 20 and call that a day. Oh, by the way, we're in the health category, if that wasn't obvious. Supplements, I don't think I'm gonna need to repurchase any supplements. I might just put 20, just throw 20 in there so I have it in there just in case, but I don't think I'll have to repurchase anything, but I'll put that there. My ClassPass subscription, that's a subscription, but it fits better in the health category, but it is $59 a month, so that's there. This is all boring stuff. Auto insurance is $84.37. Homeowners, we pay for the year, so that's a 0 category right now. And then student loans talked about as 0. So now I'm gonna scroll back up and go to okay, so now I'm gonna scroll back up and I'm going to go to my kind of leftover categories. So I have the whole giving section. Actually, I'm gonna do that one. Oh, actually, let me fill this out. Okay, so November, I have to think. This is when I have to just look inward and be like, are there any birthdays that I'm gonna forget? Are there any events? The holidays are obviously coming up. And so I'm actually going to start setting some money aside for Christmas. Actually, I cannot believe I usually do this already. I usually start saving for Christmas earlier, like more in October, but it was just such a hectic month because of the move and we had to spend so much money because of that. So I'm actually gonna add an item. I'm gonna add a line item and I'm just gonna call it Christmas. And I'm actually gonna make this a sinking fund. So you go here and I can show you how to do this. So you go into the line item, go to fund and just hit set, and it just kind of explains how it works. So funds help you save for expenses, any money, blah, 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 blah. Gives you an example. So I'm gonna make that a fund. Starting balance is 0 because I have not been saving for Christmas. Plan this month, I'm just gonna go ahead and throw $250 in here just to get me started. So now I have that as a fund. It has $250 in there. Because I have to save for Christmas. I'm trying to think. I don't think there's any other gifts I'm gonna have to buy in November. Birthdays. December, there's a few birthdays, but not, I don't think so. Anyways, generosity, I have that as just like a random category. That'll be like me leaving a bigger tip on someone's thing, or like doing donation, like so basically donations to me is like a formal donation that I would do like online. And then generosity is more like random acts of generosity. I don't budget for those every single month. It's more so if I have leftover. I'm gonna be really, really transparent. I have a lot of spending that I need to do with the wedding, with moving, with all this stuff, with Christmas coming up now. There's just a lot of stuff going on. So I'm just gonna leave those blank for right now. Okay, so now we are into savings. So I have 4 different categories for saving right now. Like I said, I have to do a lot of saving. So emergency fund, I just always have that there. I've had it there since I first started using this app. If I ever need to replace stuff in my emergency fund, then that's when I would add something there. Right now, my emergency fund is intact, so I don't have to worry about that. Long-term savings. Long-term savings is a whole separate savings account that I have that is long-term. It's like I'm not going to be using that in the foreseeable future until a certain event might happen. So that basically is my house fund. So that's money I have set aside to buy a house, and if I want to add to that, I will. Right now, I think it's at a good amount. Right now, my goal for that is to just not touch it. So once again, that's kind of like a 0 line item for right now. Short-term savings. I have really, really depleted some of my short-term savings because of traveling, the move. My short-term savings is really hurting right now. So that's really where I need to add some stuff. So I'm just going to put, and this is for the sake of this video, these are like fake numbers. So I'm going to have to go through and redo this, but for the sake of this, I have about $1,200 left. So I'm going to throw $500 into short-term savings. And then I have my wedding savings, which of course is saving for the wedding. So I'm going to do another $500 in there. And so that leaves me at $222.26. So that's when I'm gonna go back down to my personal, which has still been zeroed out, and I'm gonna put $200 there. So personal is literally anything that doesn't fit into these other categories that is just for me. So that is like little house decor items that I want to get. That is getting my hair done. That's buying makeup. That's, whatever it is, Oh, one category I forgot to add. I'm going to go to transportation. I forgot about parking. I've been paying for parking like crazy. So I'm just going to go and budget $20 for parking and put that, I usually have that up here. Yeah, so that leaves me at $226. So I didn't explain this at the beginning, but a zero-based budget means that you budget every single dollar that you make down to the last penny. So I have $226 left. So what I'm going to do is just add that to my personal because that could use as much love as possible. So that would give us $202.26. Personal. Okay, and then at the top it says it's an every dollar budget. So like I said, this was all kind of hypothetical when it comes to the actual numbers. I just wanted to show you like how I do it. But I feel like that's a pretty good budget. That gives you a lot of like healthy spending in a lot of categories. And that was beefing up a couple of categories that I don't usually beef up, aka my gas budget and my grocery budget. So yeah, hopefully that's helpful. And now I'm going to go through and actually like adjust this to my actual numbers, and we'll see how we pan out. But let me know if you have any questions, and if you get this app and like have any specific questions about the app, just let me know. But bye. Okay, so I'm actually editing this video right now, and one thing that I didn't mention when I recorded earlier is just like the whole investing category. I didn't mention investing in this video because my every dollar budget does not account for all of my investing. So I just want to talk about it very quickly. In my budget, I do budget for a couple of different things. I budget for money that goes into my Roth IRA, money that goes into my index funds and things like that every month. But that's just like a very small percentage of my actual investing. Most of my investing happens through my 401k, which comes out of my check before I ever get my check. So therefore I don't actually like account for that in this budget because that's taken out before I ever see the money. So I just wanted to mention that I don't really cover my investing in this video very much, but obviously you should be investing. And I don't use percentages when it comes to my budget because I've been doing it for so long. I kind of have worked out the percentages to what works best for my lifestyle. But at the end of the day, I do invest and save about 40% of my income every month. So that's just something I wanted to throw out there, I didn't talk about it, and it's very important. Investing is super, super important, and I didn't want to just completely leave it out of the video. But if you have any questions at all about anything, I'm by no means an expert, but at least like I have a handle on my personal finances. There's always more that I can learn. I do want to get better at investing, but if you have any questions or want to talk about any of this, please let me know. I'm very interested in getting better, learning more. I just kind of feel like I have the basics down at this point. But yeah, reach out, and I'd love to talk about it. Okay, bye.